I've seen the disappointment that comes when you try to save a few bucks on a budget gaming rig, only to discover it can't keep up with a single new title or stalls the moment you fire up a streaming overlay. Those cheap alternatives often leave you with a noisy case, constant thermal throttling, and a pile of driver updates that feel more like a chore than a hobby. That hesitation is exactly what made me pause before I even looked at the ocean of Star's AI gaming PC. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and I'll tell you whether this machine actually feels like a smarter buy or just another flashy box. The first thing I wanted to know was whether this pre-built could actually replace a DIY build for someone who wants serious 1440p gaming and the occasional AI-heavy workload. The system comes with a Ryzen 7 9700X and an RTX 5068GB card, which, on paper, sit comfortably in the sweet spot for most modern AAA games at 1440p. In practice, I tested it on Cyberpunk 2077 and Horizon Forbidden West with high settings and ray tracing turned on. The frame rates hovered between 55 and 70 FPS, which is smooth enough that you don't notice drops, and the temperatures stayed in the low 70s Celsius range thanks to the liquid cooling loop. That means you can push the graphics settings higher than you might on a $900 pre-built without the constant fan whine that cheap cases produce. What sets this box apart from the just another pre-built crowd is the way it handles non-gaming tasks. The 32GB of DDR5 memory running at 6000 MHz paired with a 1TB PCIe SSD gives it a responsiveness that feels more like a workstation than a gaming rig. I tried a 3-minute 3D rendering of a simple architectural model in Blender, and the render completed in roughly half the time it took on a comparable system I own that uses DDR4. The RTX 5060 also accelerates IBIS tools like Adobe Firefly, so if you dabble in AI-generated content or need to run inference models for a side project, the GPU's tensor cores give you a noticeable speed boost without any extra software tweaks. In short, the PC doesn't just sit idle when you're not gaming, it stays productive. Of course, there are trade-offs you need to weigh before hitting add to cart. The machine's power supply is an 850W unit, which is more than enough for the current components, but it also means the chassis is larger than a compact mini ITX build. If your desk space is limited, you'll need to plan for a full tower footprint. The liquid cooling system is pre-installed and works quietly, but it does add a layer of maintenance you wouldn't have with a simple air-cooled setup, especially if you ever decide to replace the pump or flush the loop. Another point is that the RTX 5060, while solid for 1440p, isn't the top tier for future-proofing if you aim to jump to 4K or ultra-high refresh rates in a couple of years. You'll still get good performance now, but you may feel the need to upgrade the GPU sooner than you would with a higher-end card. So, who should actually consider this ocean of stars PC? If you're a gamer who wants a hassle-free entry into high-quality 1440p gaming, a streamer who needs a system that can handle OBS, a facecam, and a game at once without jitter, or a creator who occasionally runs AI-enhanced workflows, this machine lands in the sweet spot. It's also a great choice for anyone who doesn't want to spend weeks researching parts, soldering cables, or troubleshooting BIOS settings. On the flip side, if you're an ultra-competitive esports player who lives for sub-30 FPS at 1440p on ultra settings, or a professional 3D artist who relies on the absolute fastest GPUs for massive scene renders, you'll probably feel constrained by the RTX 5060 and might be better off building a custom rig with a higher-end GPU. Likewise, if you're on a strict budget under $1,200, you could still find cheaper options that meet basic needs, but you'll be sacrificing the liquid cooling silence and the DDR5 speed. One practical strength that many reviewers miss is the out-of-the-box experience. The PC boots into Windows 11 fully activated, with the necessary drivers already installed, so you can jump straight into a game or launch your editing suite without hunting for updates. The ARGB lighting is subtle enough not to be an eyesore, yet it adds a personal touch if you enjoy a bit of aesthetic flair. In everyday use, the system remains responsive, opening multiple Chrome tabs, running Spotify, and switching between Discord and a game feels instantaneous. The downside is the limited internal expansion. While the case does support a second M.2 drive, adding more storage means you'll have to juggle cables inside a tightly packed loop, which could be a hassle if you plan to keep a massive media library locally. Bottom line, the Ocean of Stars AI gaming PC delivers what its headline specs promise, and it does so with a level of polish that makes it feel like a small boutique build rather than a mass-market pre-built. It